Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie Frill.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Reds, a Cincinnati Reds podcast. This is a podcast that goes live at 8 p.m. on every Sunday, and it's hosted by myself. I'm all at source, Ricky. I don't know. I guess maybe maybe it's just because we did a show yesterday. But we go live every Sunday at 8 p.m. So check us out. I'm Roger Strauss. Also, my co-host, Reds on SI writer, Ricky Logan. It is our one-year anniversary show. We got a lot of shout-outs, a lot of things to talk about in terms of that, in terms of the Reds, in terms of all sorts of things in baseball, because baseball is here because it's the month where the World Baseball Classic's coming. March Madness is coming for anybody that likes college basketball. And then at the end of the month, we got opening day, a party in Cincinnati. But before we get into all that, Ricky, how is I guess I haven't seen you since yesterday. How's it been?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Had a night out with the wife last night. It was nice. How about yourself? Reds lost today, so
yeah, it's been good. It's good to turn over to a new month because it feels like January and February is super long with a long winter. Shout out Mark Fetters already in the chat with his 1 year. Let's go. Let's get into it. It's already we're getting already into it. It's been great to see Reds baseball. It's been great to celebrate 1 year in with all the stuff that has happened in 1 year. It's kind of crazy to kind of like think of it in that sense. I guess off the top, wanted to shout out Jordan Maxson and Doug Stevens for their support that got us started a year ago in March 1st, 2025. And we weren't even going live then. We were just recording stuff because we weren't sure if we'd say something inappropriate that would get us canceled or something. But we're really appreciative of everybody that has also joined our ranks, whether it's the new subscribers on YouTube, whether it's Clay Snowden getting our name out there for a place to subscribe on X, where we've gained 300 followers there. So anybody out there that's joined up, please subscribe to YouTube. We really appreciate you subscribing to our X. We're going to give you the best Reds content out there that's somewhat silly, somewhat informed, but, hopefully entertaining the whole time. But, yeah, anything you want to say about our 1 year anniversary?
Yeah, for sure. Jordan and Doug just being the support they had at the beginning of the show, the first, 6 months of what we had. And then also Mike Valentine kind of floating the idea of us even doing the podcast together anyway, from where we wrote that article about the salary cap. So those three have been like a really pivotal just group of people for this endeavor that we've created. I don't think that I would be writing for the Reds about the Reds or podcasting about the Reds without you, obviously, and then without just those three people just have been just amazing people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I forgot Mike. I guess I was trying to go chronological order with, Jordan Maxson and Doug Stevens, their support and all that. They even put out a post there celebrating our first year anniversary and whatnot. So that was nice of them. But yeah, then Mike and Cheese and Sirhan picking up the torch, I guess, so to speak, joining us in this new venture of All Gloves Off. So shout out to them. So subscribe, like, comment, all their stuff there. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook, Twitch, X, what else am I missing? Instagram. They have Instagram?
Yeah. Instagram's a fun one because that's where we put all the majority of our short form contents on there, and that's how we interact with a lot of the guests that have come on, especially players. I guess the younger kids are more into Instagram these days than Twitter, so it's always fun to see these people out there and wanting to be on the show. I was wanting to thank somebody, but it just escaped me. But let's continue.
I got some guys I think because I wanted to run through. I wrote down all the guests that have ever come on this show whether
All right.
it was just friends of the show, players, personalities in the Red sphere, other sports personalities or commenters and writers and whatnot on different teams. So without really any special order, I just had it written down. So I want to shout out, thank you to all these people that have come on. Reds Daily Fork, Greg Kuffner's been on a bunch. Tortuga's announcer, Matthew Muncy. Pitcher for the Dayton Dragons, Jonathan Harmon. Player for the Dayton Dragons as well, Ryan McChrystal and his fiance, Cecilia Newsom. Kian Vu, Tremaine Person, Trevor Kunsel, Mike Valentine, James Rapine, your boss, James Rapine, Jeff Carr, Tommy Bennett, Nick Kirby, Reed Mouse, Justin Leda, Sir Boy, he's on here regularly a lot now. Dak Marquez, a friend of yours from your times at We Like Sports. Elliot Rearing, which we were talking about before the show. Also, special shout out Clay Snowden for shouting us out as a place to follow. Tom Brenneman, and Austin Layton just got on the show just yesterday, so he's the newest Red Hot Reds official family member. And also, speaking of Elliot Rearing, congrats to him. He's now your new co-worker at Reds on SI as a writer there, contributor. His Reds fandom runs deep, and he's probably going to put his little sarcastic, comedic slant on things, which would be awesome to read and see. Hopefully the team doesn't make him miserable this year, as it tends to kind of do with Elliott sometimes. But, hey, we made the playoffs last year. We got better, I feel, this year going into 2026. And, hey, man, sky's the limit because, we got a bunch of guys that are hitting well and pitching well. Well, maybe not exactly pitching well, everybody, but some guys that are getting out there and doing well. But shout out to all those people that came on the show. And yeah, like Ricky said on the Instagram, if anybody's watching the Instagram, wants to come on the show, any players or anybody like that, feel free, contact us. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah, and also shout out Mike Hart. He was a guest on there too. I don't think we put him in the title. I think we just chatted with him for a little while.
Yeah, we started that show and then he jumped on, so I forgot. Yeah. Shout out Mike. But anything else about a 1 year anniversary and whatnot? I feel like we could talk about this because one thing is that clip you put out. I'm like, oh my goodness, it felt like more than a year ago. It felt like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Definitely felt like we've come a long way, hopefully, in delivering content in a way that is a little bit. I don't know. I have a tough time sometimes hearing back.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but do you have a favorite take from the early days?
From the early days?
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a good question because we went through so many things in terms of like just predictions and whatnot. You're talking about like pre-River San Martin takes, right? Like,
yeah, within the first, probably the OST days.
Yeah. Okay. I'd have to probably revisit, but I think we made a bunch of takes of them making the playoffs. So we were at least right. We got one of those right? I feel like we were feeling good going into 2025, in so much that it can't be any worse than 2024 and the David Bell era, the new hope of having Tito come and be the manager off the sidelines, off the retirement path to be like, hey, I believe in this Reds team so much. I'm going to come out of retirement and lead them to the playoffs. So I feel like that might have been our best take or one of our better takes. So what about you? Do you have any takes from then you remember? I can't remember. That's probably
I'd say probably two of my ones that I remember the most. Well, I guess three because I'm going to name one of yours was the Cooper Bowman take.
No, I knew you were trying to go there. I forgot about that.
And then I think it was our first minor league show. I had said that South Steve was going to make the team at some point during the season, which he exceeded. I think he exceeded all of our expectations. And then I'd probably say the Tom Brenneman interview, just as a whole, was just such a cool conversation. Just he's such a genuine person. Yeah, he messed up live on air, and he regrets it, and he's living it and learning from it, and just trying to be a better person every day. But just the conversations that we had with him, talking about the Boise State game, talking about the Bartman catch, and the aftermath of all that, meeting Michael Jordan underneath the concourse, and just all those awesome stories we had with him was just kind of set us off to get us rolling. He was our first real interview. He was probably our longest interview. He seemed like he could have went on for another hour had we had more material prepared. But yeah, I'd say those three kind of stick out.
I guess I remember that differently. You're talking about having stuff prepared for Tom. I remember just sitting back and just having my jaw on the floor with some of
Yeah,
the like
I had to
he
stop
obviously
myself from smiling.
right. He obviously has that gift to obviously he was he's still a professional broadcaster, so he was able to spin a tale, and we can just sit there and kind of kick our heels up and listen because that's all I remember. Because that makes it, I guess, our job a little bit easier. Because sometimes we do prepare for these interviews, we burn through the questions super quick, and then we're like, "Ha! So what are you doing? Like, how's your off-season program going?" So with Tom, it was like we couldn't. I kept putting out there like, hey, he should write a book like of all the stuff that he's experienced and all that. But maybe one day when we're both professional writers, Ricky, we'll approach him again in his later days, maybe when he's a little maybe more willing to write down a memoir. Maybe we could be the memoir writers of Tom Brenneman. Maybe we should put that in our vision board or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool, just kind of towards the tail end of that show of him kind of teasing, but not actually trying to tease the WLW job. Just Chatterbox was his first kind of gig back after his misstep, and he's just how grateful he was for them, and he. The exact quote that he said, it was, I don't care if I get a job with Fox or NBC or ABC tomorrow. And then sure enough, the next day it was announced that he was working for WLW, which was pretty cool.
True professional. It didn't let
Yeah.
that gossip slip out, even on a small podcast that we were back then.
Small little podcast with like 7 followers on social media, between all of our platforms. We couldn't even live stream on Facebook because we didn't have enough followers.
Yeah. This is why I don't like necessarily thinking about those days too much. But it has been a good ride. I do appreciate you, Ricky, for all you've done this last year as well, with all the production behind the scenes that you guys don't know about, all the little connections. Ricky's the guy that gets most of our guests, and I just kind of yammer on about whatever else I have in my head most of the time. So
you
really
don't give yourself enough credit. You have all the show notes and everything else. So we're in this 50-50. We just have different roles.
Yeah, the show notes are to keep me on topic. Show notes, so we're not talking about the takes of Cooper Bowman all day.
My ADHD brain would have topics all sorted out. We'd be running back and forth.
Yeah, if you guys really want to see behind the scenes, my show notes are a bit all over the place. I still got notes about the fall ball and all that stuff, and our MVPs of last year. so it's all 30. Over there. Yeah, our top 30 is important, and Ricky, I think we should probably release our top 30 in the near future. It seems like everyone's putting out there. I think MLB Pipeline is going to be out there with the top 30 pretty soon. I think we'll have to re-update our list to see what we come out with. I know possibly it could be like a Angel Nunez or a different type of player that just got added to the organizational depth chart that could be in there, could not. I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. We'll have our off-camera debates and whatnot, but anything else about the first year, or enough about us? We can.
No, it's just been a blast, and I'm just really excited for the next year of it.
Yeah, if anything, it's going to be a lot better in 2026. At least I feel it's going to be a lot better, bigger, and a lot of different things. Because I think we finally maybe know what we're doing a little bit. We kind of got a little bit of handle on what exactly we're also talking about as well. And Carrick points out MLB Pipeline top 30 is out on Tuesday. So all you minor league followers, sickos like us, check that out. We'll be probably posting about it on our socials and all that, maybe criticizing it and maybe poking little holes and whatever else.
I guess kind of speaking of Carrick and minor league, let's run this real quick, and we'll announce the date we're going to start doing this.
Little teaser. I always get.
It always mutes you for some reason. I don't know why.
Is it? Am I good?
There we go. We're good. Back in action.
Is it muted?
No, you're good now.
Okay. Anyway, so like I said, I think we know what we're doing. It's the jury's still out, possibly. But anyway, the point of that was a little teaser for the new show that we're going to be doing on Mondays. We're going to start doing that Monday, March 23rd. Mark your calendars. We're going to start off with a preview of the AAA team and the AA team, because we'll hopefully know a lot more about their rosters at that point, give you our takes on who we think we should look out for, who could possibly be a guy that maybe is on the cusp of going to the majors. We know for sure the AAA pitching staff is going to be pretty decent, no matter who ends up making the 26-man roster, whether it's Louder or Burns or whatever. It's going to be a pretty nice starting rotation down there for your Louisville Bats. But again, put that on your calendars. We're going to start a new show, Minor League Mondays, March 23rd. So we really appreciate all those that follow us. Like Carrick really kind of is a good help in this category as well with minor league info, and he shares a lot of stuff on his Facebook page, the Cincinnati Reds Farm System page. So check that out as well. They got a big community there that just loves the minors, loves and supports the players too. That's the thing I think maybe I should talk about. If the 1 year anniversary show, the 1 year thing that I've kind of like taken away is that I'm glad that we found a community that roots for this team, but also like really roots for these players. I know everyone's going to have their problems with ownership. Everyone's going to have problems with the front office. Everyone's going to have possibly issues with Tito's lineups and whatever. But the community I think that we're growing, the community that I think we're a part of with Carrick's is a community that really supports the players, supports the team, and will be Reds fans forever. So really appreciate all you guys that are part of that. And again, thanks to Carrick as well.
Yeah, because there's the 26-man roster that you see every day, but there's also the guys that are the future of the team, and just kind of getting to see their stories as well, and kind of connecting with these players, knowing that they're working towards that ultimate goal of becoming a major league player. And whether it's with the Reds or they get traded or whatever happens, it's just cool to cover these guys. Yeah,
for sure. The unique thing about baseball is, like in other sports, you get drafted, you might be in the starting lineup the next week. In baseball, it's a grind from if you get drafted as a high schooler, you get drafted as a junior in college, you don't just go like straight into the majors. I mean, some players maybe, more than others, but definitely it's a situation where we like to see like these guys make a name for themselves. Basically this is their livelihood. So it's cool to kind of see them do that. But we are really kind of getting into really, I wouldn't say we're prospect huggers, but we definitely appreciate our prospects and we want them to succeed, because if they succeed, your Cincinnati Reds will succeed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between being a prospect hugger and knowing kind of what you got, in the future. Obviously, you need to know when you need to move players. I mean, it's always tough though, because you people don't realize that you're messing with human beings. Also, just because they're not on the major league team, they're still young, mostly young kids.
Even the reported 12-year-old that got signed, as Carrick's pointing out. I don't know, Ricky. I don't think our Minor League Mondays is going to be covering 12-year-old Dominican players too much, unless a story like this one kind of pops up from time to time. But we're going to mostly focus on, I think, the guys that are in our system, guys that maybe, like you said, also could get drafted. Like the MLB draft's a big thing for a lot of our followers. I know there's a nice, decent crop of college players. College baseball has kind of gotten better, to be honest with you. I feel like college baseball in the past kind of got, maybe degraded in terms of maybe looked down upon because, they play with metal bats, or these guys couldn't get drafted in high school or whatnot. But it's gotten a lot better product, and the players that the Reds have drafted at least have been really impactful coming out of college, one way or the other, whether it's pitching or hitting. So
yeah,
we'll definitely cover the draft as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know if you got anything else to say about the 1 year anniversary. I think Carrick is admitting This must be a safe space. It's a safe space. You can admit this. I have nothing against prospect hugging and whatnot. These guys, put a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears into their job, and we root for them. Unfortunately, they don't all work out, and that's kind of the other side of baseball that happens from time to time. But yeah, like Ricky was saying, respect them as people and want to see them succeed and be able to become wherever, even if they don't end up as a Cincinnati Red. Maybe we'll see a guy down the road somewhere else that we'll definitely maintain that respect and love for them and admiration for sure.
Yeah, Jose Barrero is a prime example for me.
Yeah, there's always the one that got away. There's always that. But anyway, all right. Well, let's get into some topics of the day, since I think we've talked about ourselves again a little bit too much. But there was a interesting comment. I forget exactly what it was that called it out. MLB Network or somebody like that had called out the Reds ownership about being a bit stingy. And I only brought this topic kind of out because it kind of coupled along with the salary cap leak, or I guess report. I guess Manfred was talking to the media, so it's not really a leak, but it was kind of putting it out there, the possible numbers for a salary cap. And I believe it was like the 250, 246 as the top of the cap, and then there was a floor of like 130, 140. And Ricky, you can check me on that. I'm just going off my memory now. I've got to pull that up. But that was kind of the thing, like the fact that, coupled with this CBA that's coming up, the CBA expiration on December 2nd, 2026 is when that deal will be done. And coupled with the Reds being a smaller market team that, Ricky, you've said many times on this show, just as the money that Phil Castellini has in his bank accounts, it's not like some of the others that run baseball teams. And also, we've lamented that he has a bunch of other minority owners that we don't know if he does any fundraising calls or whatnot. I think Bob and Phil probably have a little bit, maybe a little pride, and they don't really they don't bother those other minority owners for possible more money. I'm guessing they kind of did maybe with the Suarez thing, because that maybe that could be a thing that a lot of the minority owners agree on. Like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll pay a little bit more for Eugenio Suarez to come back. But what were your thoughts when the Reds ownership got called out, and then also the salary cap talk this week?
Yeah, you were pretty close on the cap and floor. It was 260 to 280 for a cap and 140 to 160 for a floor, which I think is low for a cap anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn on ownership. I know I've said it before, like, yeah, we don't spend. We're not happy about ownership spending, and we know that they can spend more. But when you look at the list of owners and like who's the richest and who's the poorest, like when you're the poorest owner and you're kind of churning out mid salaries, like it's, and I can't, I'm not defending, but it's kind of commendable a little bit just to be able to do that. And they're not taking anything from the other minority owners, like you said. I'm saying that to say this, like, yes, they should spend more. There should absolutely be a floor that all these teams should have to spend. You're kind of seeing the Pirates do it too this year. Cleveland's kind of getting a little bit better. I know I talked to Nick Kirby a while ago about Cleveland, because I think the ownership there, a lot of his stuff is in like assets. Like a lot of his wealth is in assets and not like actual money. So it's a little different with them, I guess, but still, like, you guys are billionaires, like, find a way to make these investments like a priority and not just like a side hustle. Like, you're not owning a team to like make checks and balances. Like, run this team, like, yeah, make some money, but like also, like, the better you are, the more money you make, like, go out there and compete, just try to be the best you can be. And it's kind of a cheap shot, I guess, kind of going at Cincinnati when there are teams like the Pirates who have been historically bad. Yeah, they have a playoff series win before we do, but I mean, you go back to the 90s to the 70s before their last one before that. So it's like, kind of take a step back and just chill when coming at Cincinnati. But yeah, it's like I feel like they're right, but it's not just Cincinnati what you should be talking about. And it's also not fair because when you do have teams like the Dodgers who can just throw whatever they want, it's kind of hard to be that smaller market team to do what you feel like you need to advance, and kind of getting lucky with the Suarez deal, only 15 million. Like he could have went multi years with probably 20 AAV.
Yeah. I had lots of thoughts when it was kind of weird to hear that like it was the Reds ownership specifically called out. I guess I understand possibly where they're coming from in terms of like that's what the like big debate is out there on X, on wherever like there's social media, is like, don't get mad at the Dodgers for spending, get mad at your small market owner for not spending. I get that argument too, and I don't think, like you said, like Bob is not the biggest spender. I don't think it even really matters if it is Bob Castellini or someone else. Even if like, I think we've talked about this on other shows or even yesterday, even if it's Mark Cuban who owns the team, he's going to run it as a business. He's not going to spend $1 billion every year losing, $500 million every year because he can't make that money back up. You know what I mean? After a while, it's going to be run, unfortunately, like that phrase that haunted us this whole offseason, like a budget with a budget. Yeah. And that's what, unfortunately, small market teams have to do at this point when the revenue sharing's not there, with the TV contracts not there. Why are the Marlins getting called out? I remember citing this stat over and over again that the Marlins active payroll during the season was like $45 million, which was less than Juan Soto gets paid by the Mets per year. Like, why are the Marlins? They're the ones that have gone through way bigger, rebuilds where they just blow up the whole team. Yeah. And just completely turn over a roster. They do it almost every year, honestly. Not necessarily like a huge blow up, but they get roster off of that all the time. Like, they do not keep players around. I would say even worse than like Cincinnati Reds or even the Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians re-signed and restructured, Jose Ramirez's deal, but like he's not going there cheap. Obviously, if he goes to a different team, he could get like, much bigger money, if he goes to a bigger market. But that's the issue, is what we're trying to all fight, is how do we make small market teams be able to retain their stars? Because that's honestly what the salary cap issue is. We're not going to be able to retain, in the system we have, Elly De La Cruz. Why? Because there is no salary cap to keep Elly De La Cruz from even thinking of taking the smallest amount of money possible. So there's that. That's the kind of the biggest thing, I think, is what maybe the salary cap isn't the fix to keeping Elly De La Cruz in town. Maybe there's some sort of, in the NBA, they call it bird rights, where you have the ability to sign your guy first and the other teams have to either match it or whatnot. But that's kind of a basketball thing, which already has a salary cap. So there's kind of that as well. I guess I'm mostly frustrated at the fact that Cincinnati Reds have not been the least amount of spenders either. So why are they the ones that get after in the media? I understand our fans going after it because I got
some stats for that too.
Okay, yeah. I understand the fans going after ownership because that's what fans do, and they want their team to be the most competitive every single year, no matter what. They don't care what the budget is. That's fair. But the national media to go after Cincinnati, go after the Marlins, man. The Marlins they're beggars. They're paupers. What is the phrase? Poverty franchise.
All right, so I'm gonna I got the Marlins payroll over the last 25 years. I've got the Pirates payroll over the last 25 years, and I got the Reds payroll over the last 25 years.
All right, let's hear it.
So the Marlins last year were 30th. The year before that, 27th. The year before that, 23rd, 26th, 28th, 27th, 29th, 23rd, 20th, 28th, 30th, 30th, 29th. You have to go back to 2012 when they were 10th at $101 million.
Wow.
And then for the Pirates, you have last year, they were 26th, 29th, 27th, 28th, 30th, 30th, 28th, 27th, 24th, 20th, 24th, 28th, 26th, 30, 28, 29, 28, 27, 27, 27, 29, 28, 20, 24. You have to go back to 2001 when they were inside the top 20. They were 19th.
Okay.
And then for your Cincinnati Reds, 22nd last year, 28th in 2024, 26th in 23, 21st and 22, 17th and 21, 16th and 20, 15th and 2019, 22, 25, 25, 16, 11, 13, 18, 20, 18, 22, 19, 22, 21, 17, 23, 17, 23, 21, 22. So you're telling me Cincinnati deserves to be called out for being a non-spending team when the other two teams, like I've just mentioned, are constantly 30th and 29th and 28th, like year over year over year?
I know there's not a Marlins podcast, but Ricky, do you remember what happened in 2012?
I do.
They built a new stadium, signed all these players, and then the next year or the next offseason, shipped them all
away.
So the Marlins should be the prime example of people just teams that don't spend. Like, come on. Anyway, I guess I'm just caping up for Cincinnati and Bob in an indirect way.
Yeah, but then you've also got like the city of Miami, which is like the 18th largest media market in the country.
And also a media market that is heavily Hispanic, that a lot of Hispanics really love baseball. So they need to figure it out because they have possibly you Ricky, you talk about tapping into the Cincinnati market to try to find revenue and what have you. There is no, obviously I don't know exactly everything about Miami, but that feels like a market that would be ripe to see a bunch of their Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban players playing for your Miami Marlins and like playing, in front of how many ever 38,000 people they could put in that stadium.
Well, what gets me too is you also have got Miami. What I say, the 17th largest. It's top 20.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh or Cincinnati's 37th. Pittsburgh's 27th. Like you're telling me, like these teams are like Cincinnati's outside of like Major League Baseball. Like there's 30 teams and they're 37th in media market. Pittsburgh's 27th in market size, and Miami's in the top 20. And you're bitching about Cincinnati being this team that doesn't spend, and it's like the last few years they haven't spent as much. They've also had a lot of young talent that you're trying to get out there, and they're actually playing well. Minus 24. But 23, they had the explosion of youth. 22, they completely shut it down, the rebuild. And then that rebuild happened like that. That might be like I don't think that anybody expected that rebuild to be as fast as it was.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, that did. The turnaround is big. Usually the turnaround's a lot slower for around.
Look at Miami. There's like a once every 25 years kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and just get some comments out here. Carrick, I think, put up here that the way I see it, players can't complain about teams not spending if they refuse a cap. Only way to win is by tanking. Yeah, that's definitely true. Like you think of like how the Houston Astros dynasty kind of came about. They lost like 100 games 3 or 4 years in a row, got a bunch of draft picks, broke into the St. Louis's scouting system. By the way, I think that kind of gets lost in history.
Lots of cheating going around.
And then all of a sudden, in the mid 2010s, they're winning World Series after World Series. So anyway, not a Astros podcast.
They won one World Series.
One? Oh, okay, you're generous. Which one is that? The first one?
The second one, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
2017 doesn't count.
Yeah, and right here, shout out was this Greg Graves. Will the Reds win 90 games? I certainly am predicting so. I think that is the minimum they have to win if they want to be a legit team. Because you think about the NL, for the most part, they've gotten better. Even the Pirates got better. You got the Mets that got better. You got the Braves that are going to come back. They need to win 90 games if they want to be in that wild card hunt. If they're not, it's going to be rough. It's going to be tough sledding, as Tom would say. So, 90 is the minimum, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like I guess my official prediction is between 88 and 92. That's my range. I think if you can catch the Brewers on a year where things just don't click, maybe the injury bug catches up to them with all the pieces that they ended up shipping off, and you kind of hope Chicago doesn't improve. I mean, they did lose Kyle Tucker. I don't think Bregman's really much of an improvement over Tucker. Maybe, and they also lose an outfielder, and they get an infielder in Bregman. Who
they got
knows?
Justin Steele back.
They do get Justin Steele back. I think PCA, like, he really struggled towards the end of the year after making the All-Star team.
Yeah.
Does he develop? Does he continue to improve? He's got a ton of talent. I mean, he's fast, has a lot of power, kind of Ellie-like in a way. And then Pittsburgh, I'll say, like, the moves they made, like, they could win 85 games. Like, that could happen. But when you have Paul Skeens and you have a decent rotation behind him, it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Pirates are over 500.
Yeah, no, for sure. The NL Central, except for the Cardinals, got better. Let's just put it
and then
that
like
way.
the Cardinals, though, like they're retooling through the trades and the draft and the international pool and the minor leagues. Like, who's to say they don't have a 23 Reds resurgence? Like, anything's possible.
Yeah, it's baseball, man. Yeah, anything is possible. Speaking of anything is possible, our Redlegs are hitting the snot out of the ball in Arizona. And I understand that it's Arizona and maybe the air is a little bit thinner down there. And the pitching maybe is not as effective because it's hot out there. Maybe they don't have the best grip of the ball and whatnot. Our Redlegs, at least, with the rose-colored glasses of spring training, look awesome hitting. We obviously – last night's show or last evening show, wherever, spring training.
Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know what day it is. I'm just, I gotta get, it's almost Monday again. So I gotta really get locked in for, but anyway, Matt McClain's back. As far as we can tell, he looks like he's taking nice swings at the plate. Doesn't look like he's missing, terrible pitches or swinging at terrible pitches, which he had been known for in 2025 a lot, looking like he's just not comfortable up there or whatever it was. But so far so good for Matt McClain. Like I said, we did the live stream yesterday and he hit that one in the first inning and got us off to a start, which is something we'd love to see going into 2026, especially because, like Ricky talks about in the show, he had a great start to 2025, looked himself, fell apart, possibly the shoulder wear and tear, fatigue, not getting a lot of rest out there, not getting a lot of days off, possibly could have. Maybe he's pressing, maybe doing all sorts of things, trying to make up for lost time since he missed all of 2024. There's a lot of things, factors that could have made Matt McClain's 2025 season so hit and miss, so inconsistent. But 2026, I think it's got to be the year he puts it together, because if he's your third or fourth best hitter, that means you're probably having a pretty successful season, at least at the plate.
Yeah, I've coined the nickname Matt Thick Clain, because he looks noticeably larger this year. I think he said he put on like 15 pounds of muscle during the season and during the off season, so noticeably thicker. And who knows? Like, we saw with Joey Votto when he had the shoulder surgery. Granted, Votto's a lot older compared to Matt McClain. He's I had shoulder surgery. I had a pretty solid shoulder surgery. It took a long time to get back to normal. And I'm not swinging a bat as my job, So if you're not feeling comfortable and you're not feeling like you used to, like it takes a lot to get back to what you feel like you can do. And if a whole year off, a whole off season of no stress, no worrying about what I'm doing, am I pressing? He's just working on himself. Could probably continue in the rehab more. And it's showing. It's spring training, don't take a whole lot of stock into it. But I mean, if he can be back to what he was in 23, and you have a Noelvi Marte who could be a really good hitter, you have obviously Ellie and Suarez, and you add in McClain to that mix and Spencer Steer, like there's 5 legit hitters on the top half of this lineup. And then you sneak in guys like Will Benson, we'll talk about it later, but Nathaniel Lowe, if he makes this team, Sal Stewart. I mean, like the sky's the limit for this offense if they can just hit the ball hard. And they've been doing that all spring. I think they've hit a home run in every game this spring. Yeah.
And Federer says it sometimes it takes a year to recover. And I feel like we heard a all shucks Tito Francona quote this offseason talking about how he should have rested McClain more. He kept putting him in the 2-hole when he probably should have dropped him down sooner. There's a lot of those kind of comments coming out about Tito the year after. Maybe he should realize maybe in the moment this year more like, hey, maybe just kind of like, give him a little rest by putting him down the lineup a little bit. But going into this year, at least I think me and you thought, oh, for sure, Noelvi Marte, put him in the 2-hole. No, that job I think might be contested by
It's going to be a
McClain.
good competition.
And we love that, and that'll be great if he does compete for it, because he started off the year that, and we thought he was the number 2 hitter. Pencil him in. I think Tito at this time last year, or somewhere around this time last year, was like, oh, I already got my first 4 guys. It was Friedel, McClain, Ellie, and Austin Hayes, right? So like, there's that in terms of like, he felt like those guys were confident. Obviously, what happened to Austin Hayes. Unfortunately, he rolled his ankle right before the opening day and got on the IL. But at least the confidence was there. I don't know. You think Tito is going to be that confident again, just throwing out, his lineup, at least the first 4 guys?
Well, we got to remember too. Excuse me. We had Tito had a whole year off too.
Yeah,
like he was out of the game for a year.
Rusty.
So maybe he was just rusty. Like maybe we get Tito magic and we get some red magic going on too. And like Carrick points out in the chat, Edwin Arroyo prospect, he had shoulder surgery same time Matt McClain did. He had a rough year last year, not terrible year, just no power. I know he's working on a swing, trying to get more loft on his swing. And then Mark Fetters also points out that JJ Bleday might be the odd man out. Nick Kroll really likes Bleday, and he's playing really well this spring. It's going to be Will Benson might be the odd man out, and that's going to be a tough decision to make, because I think Will Benson's earned a real shot. And we've signed so many outfielders. Like maybe Dane Myers gets optioned down, but he's hitting the ball hard in the spring too.
Yeah.
He's had 2 of his hardest hit balls of his career this spring. I mean, luckily, I think everybody that they've acquired has options, so like they could send them down. But luckily, with Bleday, he's a lefty that hits lefties better. So maybe that puts a right-handed hitter like a Dane Myers out, and that's going to be a really tough decision. And I think Nathaniel Lowe has earned a spot, and it's going to be a tough decision for him too, because he is a former Silver Slugger award winner. I put out an article on him just a little bit ago. If you look at his numbers for when he played with Texas, he was a 122 OPS plus. He had 89 home runs, and he, obviously won the World Series with Texas. And he goes to Washington in free agency to start 25, struggles, gets traded to Boston. I think he gets traded, and then he just struggled, right? Maybe a change of scenery, maybe, getting back to what he could do. He could become what the player that he was. And and based off the quote that he gave Charlie Goldsmith, I think he's willing to accept a bench role, which is pivotal to have a player like Nathaniel Lowe caliber who could, be the lefty DH when you have to rest Suarez, or he could be the first baseman when you got to rest Sal Stewart. It's a good option to have. And I feel like we have way more outfielders than we have infielders. And the infielders that we have, it's a lot of moving pieces. Like you have to move around a lot to kind of make it work. And I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of first base DH players with like 2 legit infielders in McClain and Suarez, or Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and there's some good comments in here. I am thinking with Carrick, Benson and Hines are going to be, again, the 2 guys out, kind of like this time last year as well. They got sent to AAA. I think they really value Myers' ability to hit lefties and play defense, which is something that Hines and Benson don't necessarily do great. Childs of Willie, thank you for saying good luck with your show. Reds need more fans like us. Reds are on TV tomorrow. Oh, yeah, against your Chicago Cubs, or Reed Mouse's Chicago Cubs. I forgot that.
Jameson Taillon taking on Brady Singer.
Yeah, his first start of the spring, which will be interesting to see. So I'll be hopefully tuned in for that. So yeah, it's good. It's one of the only games. Oh, actually, the Reds are going to be on ESPN on Thursday as well against the Dodgers. So they're going to be on TV a lot this week. So tune in, see how the boys are doing. Yeah, definitely. We have talked about Dane Myers being the backup to TJ Friedel. They keep talking about how TJ Friedel played too many games last year, and I don't know if that's like some sort of knock on wood, like, hey, we're not sure if he's going to be around 150 games like he was last year, so we'll have Dane Myers as the insurance plan. JJ Beday's been playing well. Dane Myers has been playing well. I mean, Benson and Hines, I think, unfortunately, at this point, we'll see. There's still a little bit more to go for spring training. It's kind of an interesting battle out there. And then you also kind of throw in Spencer Steer on the outfield, right? Like he's a utility infielder, kind of, but he might not play first base if they go with Al Stu or Eugenio Suarez sometimes. So you got to throw that kind of wrench in the plans too. They got a lot of competition for places, which is a good thing. It's a good thing because like I make this joke all the time. At least we're not in like a Bubba Thompson territory where he's the 26th man, right? We feel like we've got major leaguers in all 26 spots. At least we could.
Yeah, it's not like 2024 where we had a surplus of infield depth and then Noelvi Marte gets suspended and all of a sudden you're scrambling for a player to have and we ended up getting Santiago Espinal. So it seems like, knock on wood, that our roster seems pretty solid in the terms that you can kind of go either way with the decisions that you have to make.
Yeah, and this is a good point. Lowe, Myers, Bleday, the last three spots. We are going to be doing a 26-man roster show later in the month when it starts to get more and more clear. Probably around this time, 3 weeks from now or so, we'll probably have a 26-man roster show, trying to figure out what we're going to do. Last year it was so kind of like controversy. Stu Fairchild was supposedly going to be in that 26-man, and then he gets waived, right?
At that point, he gets traded to Atlanta for not running out a pop-up or something.
Yeah, it was a crazy time to be a Reds fan, especially if you were a Stuart Fairchild fan, which I think
I got his jersey in the closet.
I think my niece still might be a Stuart Fairchild fan, I believe, but you never know. Maybe not anymore after that. But and also I think he's getting married or did get married. Can't remember.
I think he did get married.
Yeah, shout out Stu Fairchild. Chinese Taipei, World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, they put out a hype promo for him.
He's their like star. He's their guy out there. So we'll see that. I think March 4th is the first game for Chinese Taipei versus Australia.
Yes, and Fetters, I agree. Anything is better than Connor Joe.
Oh man, yeah. Well, let's fingers crossed. No real big injuries, like you mentioned. The Noelvi Marte stuff of getting suspended. There is a lot of moving parts or a lot of things that can happen that causes things to be moved around or whatnot. But if it is Nathaniel Lowe, who is your 26th man, that sounds like a heck of a lot better than what we've had in recent past. Like I'll take that. So that's really good. And Greg Graves, we are going to get into the pitching staff because that is the next part that's a bit concerning, but hopefully not so much. But before that, Ricky, you have any other thoughts about the excellent hit? And also the stat of the day, all 6 hits from Ellie De La Cruz this spring have been extra base hits, which is something we were clamoring for. We want extra base Ellie. Extra base Ellie, man. No more singles, no more walks. I mean, I guess you can get walks.
Give me the walks.
He can then get steals. But what I mean, like, it felt like the extra base Ellie has been missing since that 23 that you were talking about, the cycle. Like that exciting Ellie. Hopefully he is back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just fun seeing the ball leave the ballpark. And we haven't even seen a CES bomb yet, and we haven't seen I think, what was it? Will Benson was the first home run of the spring.
Yep.
Man, that was like 465, I think it was. And Nathaniel Lowe's today was 111 off the bat, 460.
Yeah, someone on X commented, like, what are they feeding these guys down there in Arizona? I think the ball just travels a lot faster, man, and a lot farther because even JJ Beday's was like 460, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of lends itself being in.
It's almost like playing in Colorado.
Yeah, the elements are a little bit in favor, although it's kind of the opposite because it's in the valley. Like Phoenix is down, so I don't know how that does with. But anyway, the point being is that
dry air, I guess.
They just hit the snot out of the ball. Pitchers do not necessarily have great outings, and a couple of our pitchers have not had great outings. Unfortunately for our stream last night or yesterday, whatever, I keep doing that.
Yesterday. Let's go.
Yeah, yesterday. It was it was not good for Hunter Green. He got rocked in the first inning, and it was kind of the same story for Andrew Abbott today, getting rocked as well. I guess more kind of broader questions. Are you concerned, Ricky, at this point? Or is this kind of like, okay, spring training, we've done that to pitchers in spring training. Is that just kind of nothing really to worry about?
I just think it's how it is. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I know Hunter was working on the new pitch, the two seamer. He Abbott kind of got hit hard today, but you're kind of learning. Like you got to learn. You're basically learning the strike zone again in a way with ABS. And spring training is a lot of just tinkering, learning your arm action again. Your first time pitching in a game in months, so I'm not worried. I'm confident that Hunter Green's going to be a legitimate Cy Young candidate this year. Andrew Abbott could seriously contend for an All-Star again. Like, I'm not worried. It's spring training.
For Green, because we watched that yesterday specifically, I'm not as concerned because the guys that he went up against were major leaguers for the Brewers.
Yeah,
right?
he went up against their A squad.
Jackson Churio, Sal Frelick, Andrew Vaughn. Like this, if he was going up against like their Double-A guys, their minor leaguers, and he's getting rocked, I think that's a little more concerning that they're timing him up that well. If major leaguers are timing him up when he's working on stuff, not the worst thing in the world. You'd love to see him go through stuff. I mean, Rhett Louders looked awesome this spring. Burns, Chase Burns has looked awesome this spring, and that's all positive and everything like that. But there's also that adage in spring training, like you can't really take. Let's hope not. They are close to the border there, Mark Fetters. But like, hopefully that this is a situation where you just take, with a grain of sand. You can't. Anyone that hits 500 in spring training isn't going to be the next Barry Bonds. Anyone that has a 45 ERA is not going to be out the league in the next couple starts. It's just weird, small sample size. And luckily for Hunter Green, he got pulled out in the first inning without recording an out. He was allowed by spring training rules to come back in and get 3 outs. So at least he got some work in, wasn't just shelled and then put on ice right away. So he at least got some work in to get some outs on the Brewers. It just kind of was our a watch along curse, Ricky, I feel.
Yeah. I had a quote pulled up. I just lost it.
Oh, for him. And for Abbott, I didn't watch the game admittedly today, but I'm sure he's working through some stuff. It was against the Athletics and I don't know. I guess I'm trying not to be too concerned. What you definitely don't want for spring training is guys that are talking about how something is tweaked or something's hurt or something's not feeling right in their body. So that would be a bigger concern at this point. Say, like you said, Hunter Green's working on a new pitch and he just felt like, oh, I felt something when I threw it. That's big time concern for spring training, right?
Yeah. So Abbott, after the game, he allowed 4 runs in 2 2/3. He said, I gave up some hard hits, some hard contact, not ideal. Overall, I felt good. I was executing in the zone early, doing a lot of the little things right. Staying healthy is the biggest thing. And then with Hunter Green yesterday, he said the results weren't great. Going in the plan, especially adjusting to the ABS, was what I wanted to fill up the zone. I was probably too middle today. It's a good hitting team. Trying to find more of those corners I can taper and work from there, fill the zone up, and then as I adjust, I'll start getting those corners, ball to strike to balls. I stuck to my plan and definitely wanted to fill the zone up probably a little too much.
Yeah, for sure. We got some comments here just to run through real quick, Ricky, before we I got Damon Rice saying 44. And Ricky, do you know who the last guy to hit 40 home runs for your Cincinnati Reds?
Eugenio Suarez?
Yep. We had 49, right? And that is something that we would love to see as well, alongside of Ellie.
Do we get 2 guys hitting 40 home runs this year?
If we got 2 guys hitting 4, okay. I should preface this because this is where we get into, I guess, some tricky territory because this is not obviously Velika ball to hit 40 home runs. But do you remember when we were watching? I think maybe the A's. We're talking about the A's last year, and they've got all these guys that got like 30 plus homers, 100 RBIs. And they won 67 games. So just hitting 44 home runs isn't going to win ball games per se. The pitching staff's got to do their part too, which is what we're talking about here.
We have that.
If we got 2 guys that hit 40 home runs in Tito's Cincinnati Reds team, which, basically he's all about winning the game 1-0, we should be in that 90 win range for sure. I'd like to say. Obviously, there's two sides of the ball game, right? There's offense and there's defense, right? So we got to make sure we're good at both. All phases of the game. I think that's a football phrase, but I'll use it here. All phases of the game, the Reds have to be good. So
I guess if you take last year's lineup at just put it at 0, and you add 10 home runs to Steers and Ellie's home run totals, like how many more games do you think they win?
Oh,
Like if the
6,
lineup
7 maybe,
and like if the lineup if the lineup is, let's just say if they do exactly the same as last year, and you add 10 home runs to Steer and Ellie, they probably win 6 more games, 7 more games. But then you're also like this year, like we could have a better Matt McLean. Is Ke'Bryan Hayes going to finally hit the ball? And if he doesn't, at least his defense is going to save runs. And then obviously you're adding Suarez to that lineup, and then you have Sal Stewart playing his full first year in the majors. Like we had 2 guys hit 20 last year. We could have 4 guys hit 20 this year. We could have 5 guys hit 20 this year, and we could have 2 guys hit 30.
I guess that's more my point. If we're spreading it around where it's 4 guys hitting 20, then I think we are a better ball club. If it's just Eugenio and Ellie and everyone else is kind of mid, then we might not be winning as many games as we think.
Yeah.
Some more comments here. I think Damon Rice talked about uniforms. This year should be a new City Connect, and
they haven't announced that any ticket packages City Connect Fridays.
Yeah. Oh, they announced that, you said?
No, there hasn't been. There's not a single City Connect Friday.
I want to say I went back and forth with Gingersaurus Rex on X about this. I was saying X a lot there, but he said that they didn't really announce it until like right before the season. And I want to say, if I have my, tinfoil hat up, I want to say they've been doing a lot of promo pictures at spring training right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they've taken some new photos with that new jersey and they're just really ready to ramp up or roll out the the promotions on the new jersey and whatnot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like,
I've also heard that the Black City Connect may become an alternate uniform to where the new City Connect becomes a City Connect. And because I feel like when they announced the City Connect jersey in 23, like the way they kind of discussed it was like the new logo was like something that was like the future. It wasn't just like a random logo. Like I feel like they're really trying to lean into that being part of the future, which I know it's kind of debated. Like a lot of people don't like the logo. I personally love it. I love the Wishbone C, but I feel like we've had the same Wishbone C for 100 years, and I feel like it's time to kind of maybe change it. It doesn't have to be permanent. Maybe do it for 10 years and then you go back, but I remember, was it last year they had that special jersey for the Dragons stadium game, and then they never use it again. And so yeah. I don't know. I do know that they kind of announced the City Connect in 23. It was in like mid-April, I want to say.
Really? I thought it was right before spring.
It was like early mid-April, because then they debuted it against the Yankees in May.
Okay. All right. And yeah, we did talk a little bit about Hunter in terms of his start here in spring training and not taking too much into it, but I don't think he will be taking a step back this year. We have a little bit of a theory going on that the Reds don't necessarily are highest on Hunter, and they keep disrespecting him by not giving him team awards or little, shout outs and whatnot. So I think he might be on he's going to be back. Well, what did it say? Not necessarily revenge season, but he's going to have kind of a little bit chip on his shoulder and hopefully come out here and give that Cy Young season that we would desperately love to see, because he finished 8th 2 years ago. And I think last year Abbott finished 8th in voting. If we could get a top 3 voting from him, I guess I should say, I think that's my goal for him this year. And my prediction is the top 3 Cy Young voting NL for Mr. Hunter Green.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat out Paul Skeens. It's going to take a regression from him. He did regress last year. He went from a 1.96 ERA to a 1.97 ERA. So that's kind of tough. But, Hunter Green, I'm not worried about him taking a step back. If anything, he should be getting better. He's getting into his prime. What's he, 26 now? Yeah. And he feels slighted. I mean, the way the media went after him this entire offseason about him not being a competitor. I mean, he's got a fire under him, and I feel a career year coming out of him this year, and I honestly would not be surprised if you do see a Cy Young winner in Hunter Green this year. I mean, it'd take a lot because obviously Paul Skeens has the credibility of being is he a 2-time winner now? Is he won last year? I can't remember if he won the year before. I don't think he won his rookie.
He was just a rookie last year.
Yeah,
2024 rookie. So I don't think he won. I think he won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean he probably could have, but yeah, I mean you're competing against Paul Skeens and like Yamamoto for the Dodgers and name a National League pitcher.
Suarez, Ranger Suarez.
Ranger Suarez, he was in the NL. Was in the Phillies, right?
Or Christopher Sanchez. Maybe that's
Christopher Sanchez. Yeah, there's lots of good pitchers in the NL, but
Chris Sale,
like Hunter Green. I mean, he's young enough. He's got a fire under him. I think he's got a legit chance to win it. I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I disagree though, Fetters. Winning does not make the pitcher Pirates uniform look better, in my opinion. They still look like losers to me. So
hey, I'll say this though about the City Connects. They play differently in those uniforms.
That's where you got to cycle, right? In the City Connect?
It felt like every Friday, it didn't matter what was going on. It felt like there was something crazy that was going to happen that night. I mean, we saw Jamer Candelario hit home runs in those uniforms.
Yeah, that was probably the day that you did a pregame with Mike Hart.
It was, and we had Friday Night Candy, man. I'm going to miss Friday Night Candy. All of Reds Nation had diabetes trying to get him going.
Well, yeah, maybe we could do some sort of spin-off show with some on this channel. Ronnie Snyder says Gino, Ellie, McLean, Steer, all 30. That'd be nice, especially for Steer, because he's hit 20 a couple times, and we obviously have documented a lot that he spent half the year injured with that.
I'll give you a sneaky one to hit 20s. Friedel, would he have 19 a couple years ago? 20
a
couple years ago? Friedel could hit 25. I mean, I think at 23 he had 20.
I would take Marte hitting 30 before Friedel and Steer right now, in my opinion.
I was saying Friedel hit 20, 25.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, I'd like to see it, definitely, because, like I said, I feel like they got that insurance plan with Dane Myers. I'd like to see 150 games out of Mr. TJ Friedel, because that means he's healthy and playing and hopefully effective. But, hey.
Friedel had 14 last year.
Really? Wow.
And then
why do I think I thought he was a single digit
13
guy.
and 24. So in less games in 24, he had 13, and he had 18 and 23.
Doesn't he have that sneaky, like, weird reverse splits? Like, he's got that crazy.
All of Friedel's home runs are pull side home runs.
Yeah.
He's never gone center, and he's never gone away.
That's so crazy. Anyway, we're still talking about pitching, I think. But yeah,
we are.
May looked like, I saw for the box score, blew up again. Unfortunately, I'm thinking he's going to be a AAA pitcher to start the year.
Yeah.
Just because even in the games that we watched, or I watched with the Reds, his control has been not bad, not on point.
Maxwell didn't look good the other day too, where he had 4 straight walks.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if a guy like May and Maxwell are struggling, this might be an opportunity for our guy Trevor Kunsel to make a name for himself.
Hey,
he obviously had the one opportunity to close out the game couple games ago, like Monday or something like that. And happy birthday to him, right? His birthday was yesterday.
Yep.
So shout out to him. I think you're right, Ricky. You've been talking about him starting out in AAA. I think that if the Reds like him as much as we do, he might be out there at Louisville and knocking on the door to be, I don't know, just thrown in the bullpen somewhere, making a debut this year. So,
and Tony Santillan made his debut today too, an inning, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And that was kind of, we knew that they're going to be a little bit less, I don't know, taxing on him going into spring training and whatnot. And Pagan hasn't had a debut yet either, right? So I don't know. It's been
actually
looking good.
Pagan did pitch today too.
He did? Oh man. See,
he pitched an inning, 2 hits, a run, and a strikeout. An unearned run. Yeah.
So Mark puts out there how we feel about the bullpen. I think we're feeling pretty good. We got a lot of competition for places again. I feel like we're saying that all over the place in the different units of the Reds organization. But, like we haven't really even talked about this show a lot about Brock Burke or Caleb Ferguson or, who else could be even thrown in there? That guys that we haven't really talked about too much.
Connor Phillips had a good outing today too. So I think he's really bounced back after the last game. Maxwell bounced back. He did give up a run, but he didn't walk anybody, and he had a strikeout. But the run was on a home run.
Okay. So we feel pretty good going into we were kind of annoyed a couple months ago when they were all talking about, oh, we need to build up our bullpen. We need to build out our depth in the outfield. And that was around the time when we were still courting Mr. Schwarber. So that was kind of annoying, but it's something that they actually needed. Pierce Johnson, that's a guy we haven't talked about a lot too. And I saw him. He pitched yesterday when we were doing the live stream, and he had a 1-2-3 inning. So I feel pretty confident. I don't know if they are a top 10 bullpen. They were right there about the top 10, 9, 10, 11, and some metrics for our bullpen. Hopefully they can stay around that range and be just as productive and effective. Like I said, the stat that I threw out there is that they led the majors in 0 days rest for relievers. They just threw guys out there every single day. Obviously, you talked about Centennial, also Pagan, also Barlow.
Yeah.
I name any other kind of guy that Tito manages the bullpen, but he also leans on them really hard sometimes.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be in a good spot going into 26.
Yeah, if there's one person I trust right now, it's Tito with the bullpen. Yeah, he kind of had to use the guys that he had last year, but I don't know about them being a weakness. They might not be the strongest asset, but I don't think they're going to be the reason why we lose games. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I still think the offense is still going to be not what we want it to be. But Caleb Ferguson Saturday pitched an inning, gave up a hit, had a walk and a strikeout. Pierce Johnson on Saturday, an inning, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, no walks. That was all the big name threats to make the team. You go back to today, Connor Phillips pitched an inning, didn't have a walk, I believe, and he had a strikeout, so he had a clean inning. Maxwell had, I think I talked about him, he had a hit, a run. Luis, like he said, AAA for him, I think, is where the best place for him to start. Ton of potential. I mean, we're talking closer stuff with him and Maxwell. And you can argue Connor Phillips. May had a third of an inning, 2 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, a run, or a strikeout, and a home run allowed. His ERA is 40.50. Carrick brings up in the chat that Jose Franco may be the 8th man in the bullpen. I just don't know. I feel like they're going to use him as a starter in AAA. He is on the 40 man, so he's an easy man to move up. But I think they're going to see what Chase Petty has this year. And if Chase Petty doesn't pan out as a starter, I think he's got good bullpen stuff. And, I wouldn't give up on Franco just yet. He is a little bit more experienced compared to Chase Petty, but Chase Petty, I think he'll be the first one to get moved to the bullpen out of the 2 starters. But I think the AAA rotation is going to be really good. Like if we can go it's Franco, Chase Petty, Louder or Burns, one of the 2, and Brandon Williamson. I think that's a legit rotation. That's a major league rotation. And I just think that, with the bullpen's sake, I don't think they're going to put a rookie in there and expect him to be a 6th inning guy, 5th inning guy, kind of be the Nick Martinez. I don't think they're going to even really going to roll with that kind of guy this year. I think they're just going to they're going to push the starters as long as they can. And then obviously, I think Ferguson can give you more than an inning. I know Maxwell, his debut game, he pitched 2 innings. We've also got Graham Ashcraft, former starter, can be stretched out, pitch 2, 3 if you need him. Ashcraft, maybe our take last year was that Ashcraft could be the closer before we had really kind of leaned into Pagan. I think Ashcraft could become that new Nick Martinez type guy.
Yeah, we weren't really talking about Ashcraft at all this spring. He had I think, got blown up a little bit one time he came in. Yeah. It was weird because they did start Jose Franco that one day for spring training. It might have been the Sunday a week ago, and they just pitched 1 inning. So I think their plans are actually to have him be a bullpen guy. We definitely don't want to get into these discussions of, Brandon Williamson being a hybrid starter reliever. I don't think that fits his role. Same thing with Chase Burns.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want to see that at all.
If the guy that they got to sacrifice to become a full-time reliever or that Nick Martinez hybrid role, I think Jose Franco could be that. Maybe not right away, maybe not opening day, but maybe down the road. You know what I mean? Like Ashcraft could do that probably now, right?
Yeah.
And I think we'd be comfortable with 4 innings.
I think he could thrive in that role.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, you got also Sam Moll in there that could also be a mop-up guy if things go really bad and be that
Sam
Brent
Moll
Suter.
could be the new Brent Suter.
Yeah, so we got some options. If Jose Franco is if that's his destiny, I can see that down the road for him, and he definitely could be that guy. And hopefully he can continue to grow his game because we would like to see him in there.
He's got good stuff.
He's on the 40 man, so he's definitely someone that the Reds are going to value at some point. I don't know exactly if that's now. And yeah, Kerry points out they did pitch in the Arizona Fall League as well out of the bullpen. So that might be his identity for that. So we'll definitely be keeping tabs on him wherever he ends up. Hopefully, I don't think he's made his debut as a major leaguer yet, right? So he might make his debut this year. Heck, maybe before Edwin Arroyo. He might be a guy called up before the field players like Hector Rodriguez and Leo Balcazar and what have you. So, but yeah. Shout out to Jose Franco. We'll be definitely keeping tabs on him, seeing how he does. Just some more comments here
quickly. Reds fan Brandon on X.
Okay.
He tweeted this about Franco. He had 15 whiffs on 24 swings on Friday.
Okay. Not bad.
54% chase rate.
We'll take that. I think I also wrote down in my notes that Chase Burns had like 14 whiffs on his last outing out there too, and was looking sharp. So that'll be, I don't know. I guess I'm getting pumped about some of these guys. The guys that are doing well. Hopefully they can carry that north back to Cincinnati, but it's not a guarantee. We'll see. Another guy that we know will definitely for sure be bringing it back to Cincinnati, even though he's going away for the World Baseball Classic. Gino and his offense. That even though he's not looked great this spring, like he's not hitting 500 like Ellie, but he did go back to back with Ellie the other day. Yeah. So that we can get used to that for sure.
That'd be nice.
Oh, just out. There probably was a time we went back to back in 2025, but I don't think we did. Maybe it's just me.
Early in the season, McLean and Ellie.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, April.
That's what I remember.
Oh,
I'm sure it happened later in the year. Actually, you know what? I think it was in the Milwaukee series, the final week of the season. I think it was Ellie and somebody. Friedel? No, it wasn't back to back. It was Friedel then Ellie. It was 1 and 3.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. If it was April that it happened, that's 11 months ago.
But I do know. I do remember. It was the Texas series. That the game we scored like 14 runs.
Oh, you're talking about the torpedo bats.
Yeah, because that's when they had McLean 2-hole, and they went back to back.
Whatever happened to the torpedo bats? Anybody find them? Did they put them somewhere?
Apparently, Trevino has been using one for years. So
really,
it hasn't helped him a whole lot.
It's a Yankees thing, right? Like they were the first to roll them out. So yeah, I guess that phase really died quickly.
Yeah,
at least for Ellie. So, whatever happened to when he had that monitor thing at the bottom of the bat? Is that not a thing?
Oh yeah, he ended up not being able to use that anymore. I think what was that? Just to track his bat speed or something?
Yeah. It got banned. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is crazy. It's just it doesn't do anything for the hitter other than track bat speed.
It just makes the other team worry that they're cheating. Obviously.
It was funny though when he homered. I think it was a national series. I want to say it was 4th of July weekend or something. Homered, and he just points at it like, Yep. And then the next game, it's like, nope.
Yeah, I think Carrick's got our first hot take of the show. He's thinking that Sam Moll is going to get released and then open up a spot for Nathaniel Lowe, which will be interesting. I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only pitcher that doesn't have options, so that kind of makes it a little hard because you feel like you can earn the spot, but then are you going to have 3 lefties in the bullpen?
No, I think they really like Ferguson and Burke.
Yeah. Burke's got the velocity. Ferguson's a good leader. You know, I found this out. You know, Ferguson has made the playoffs at every year in his career.
Well, that's why he's going to stay on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't ruin that streak.
That streak would have ended if he had stayed with Pittsburgh last year.
Oh, well, see, Mark,
Yeah.
I told you, Fetters, loser colors. Anyway, anything else you got on the pitching staff? Any concerns or highlights or stuff?
No, I'll be more concerned if it's later in spring when they're really trying to ramp up.
Yeah, I think Mario Post is talking about Mole again. I think Nathaniel Lowe's got a chance. I don't know if they're like in a situation where they're going to keep Lowe because they're afraid that basically someone else is going to claim him because he's out of options, right? So like, I don't know if that's the play. To me, a little bit a tinge of Mike 40 type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
I think they're only at least with him though, he's got credibility. Mike Ford didn't really have any cred.
No. Two different players.
Sure. Yeah, I get your point though, because it feels like you're trying to force a spot to have him, but then he plays first base. He's a Gold Glover. He's won a Gold Glove before. He's a DH, good DH bat, and he's a lefty that you can have. Like it's so hard, man. Like I'm for it. Keep him, sign him, whatever. But it just like, are you gonna sacrifice Will Benson for that? Are you gonna sacrifice? You got to sacrifice an outfielder to keep an infielder at this point, because you're not gonna. There's nobody in the infield I'm sending down. Like, you're not sending McLean down. You're not sending Steer down. You're not sending Stewart down, unless they're not confident in South Stewart, which I don't see that happening.
I think they're also high on him because there probably is going to possibly be an injury somewhere. I mean, look at Hayes. He rolled his ankle the 2 days before opening day, right? So that can always happen. It could obviously open up a spot for him, and then we don't have to have these conversations of crowded whatnot. I mean, that's what happened to McLean when everyone's like, why do we still have Jonathan India on this roster? And then Jonathan India is playing every game in 2024 and playing out his last season ever as a Cincinnati Red. So shout out to Jonathan India. Hey, he got a raise, right?
He did.
Yeah. Well,
I think what kind of threw a wrench in the plan was trading for Key Brian Hayes, because I think we were all expecting South Stewart to take over third base, and then obviously you would have Steer looked pretty well at first, but I think Steer's best role is playing every day in a different spot. And just, he's a bat you need in the lineup. He's serviceable enough in every position he plays. Like, he's a decent outfielder. He's got a good arm. He prefers playing second base over everything. And, then the only place he doesn't really play is shortstop. And you don't need a shortstop because you got two shortstops in Ellie and McLean.
Yeah, and maybe Edwin Arroyo sooner than later. So
he's looked good this spring.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in Puerto Rico. Just a little hot take there. I think he has a good World Baseball Classic. I don't know if he's going to make the Final Four or the finals. I don't know if Puerto Rico's that good, compared to like the Dominican, Japan, U.S. and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs. So it'll be good. Any other thoughts on that? We got a couple more topics. It's going to be a little bit shorter today because we're just ramping up for the season. We got all our other stuff we're going to be doing. But it did happen almost a week ago. On Monday, Joey Votto showed up on Jim Day's podcast, and it was kind of cool because, Jim Day, obviously is a very likable guy. And I think he even said on the outset of the podcast, like, this is going to be the longest Jim Day podcast ever because they just didn't want to edit it down because Joey Votto, I guess, was that compelling and talking about all the different things that have been going on since he's left Cincinnati and whatnot. But yeah, there was a couple of things that stood out to me in the hour 45 long podcast. Were you able to listen to it, or did you see the clips that came out of there?
I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I kind of caught some highlights of it. I saw where he mentioned moving the fences back in Great American Ballpark. I thought that was an interesting take. I kind of agree with it. Kind of, I feel like the ballpark plays to home runs, but it doesn't have a good gap. If you're hitting the ball in the gap, you can be held to a single if you're a slow enough runner. And I think that's about all that I caught on him. I'll have to if you name something, I'll probably know if I caught it or not.
He did talk about ABS. We talked about him, how great it would have been if he was in the ABS era. And technically, he did play in the ABS era because the story he went through with Jim Day is obviously after the Reds bought him out after the 23 season, he signed a minor league deal with the Buffalo Blue Jays, I want to say. And he went and played there for a bit, couple months, got hurt and whatnot. So it wasn't the most pleasurable experience for Joey Votto, obviously trying to rekindle the last bit of baseball for him. But he did have a story that he did have ABS. And what ended up happening is that, and obviously they had ABS for a couple seasons in the minors, right? So like
2021, I believe.
He had a call that he thought was a ball that got called a strike, challenged it with the ABS system, lost it, and then I guess promptly thought, oh, well, this is it. I can't, this is not for me anymore, and retired the next day and said, no, I'm not, thank you for, Buffalo Blue Jays for helping me out, but I'm no longer ready to do this anymore, and retired after that. And I think that was, around the time that I think the Reds were visiting the Blue Jays in Toronto, and he saw them in the locker room. I remember that happening in 24 as well.
He retired the weekend that they were, or the week or whatever, they were in Toronto.
So a little bit of a reunion and whatnot. So that was the one thing, because we were like, oh, Joey Votto would be 1,000% on all the challenges and would never miss one, and has such a good sense of the strike zone and whatnot. And literally the one time he had, over. So maybe it's just, it depends, right? Because, a lot of guys obviously have good eyes. A lot of guys might just maybe pick the wrong time to challenge and whatnot. And so far, the Reds have been actually really good. I think there's a bunch of stats out there.
Codified Baseball put out they're the best team in challenging
in winning.
ABS.
Yeah,
and then the rest of the NL Central's in the bottom half.
Yeah, and you know who's last? Los Angeles Dodgers. They're -8 on the plus minus of winning versus losing their challenges. So,
when we watched the Blue Jays yesterday challenge 2 in the first 2 innings and lost both of them.
Oh, the Brewers, yeah.
Brewers, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The Brewers. If this is what undoes the Brewers' voodoo magic, like that would be awesome. It's like all of a sudden they're really terrible.
This is how they're cheating. We've all assumed they were cheating just for their voodoo magic,
or just getting all the breaks.
It just turns out all of the MLB umpires were like conspiring against getting them the correct calls, and now they can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, Mariposa does say that Votto talked about Ellie playing all 162 because that was a thing that Votto loved to do. Like he also frames it in a way that he said, because he's such a baseball, like a baseball guy, like he thought he owed it to the fans to play all 162. Like it was just kind of like a part of his being, that he would be a guy that gets out there every single day because he saw that it's the hardworking fans paying the money to see him. And it's kind of like that Michael Jordan quote, right? Like Michael Jordan said, I play every game because there might be a kid in Cleveland or a kid in Minnesota that has never seen me play. So I owe it to them to go out there and give them a good show. And it's kind of like Votto's vibe as well. It's like, and I can see that in Ellie as well, because like he's such a fan favorite. Even people outside the city can see his magnetism, his charisma, or Riz, as the kids say. So like they definitely, I think, understands why he wants to play all 162. It's just, sometimes players got to be told against their better judgment, maybe not to overdo it.
Yeah, I can see that. I didn't remember when he had the shoulder surgery, he was walking around the ballpark meeting fans. So even when he was hurt and couldn't play, Votto was still at the ballpark meeting fans. And then, he broadcasted a little bit, jump-started his career with that. And I was kind of hoping that if with the new Reds TV package that they were going to maybe make some changes. And I would have loved to hear Sadak and Votto as like the home package. Like that it seemed like that would have been cool. But I feel like there might be some animosity between him and Cincinnati in a way, just because the way everything ended.
Well, heck, not to bring up the Pirates, not a Pirates podcast, but it feels like they're doing the same thing to Kutch over there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They had like an unofficial last dance, right? Like, because everyone kind of felt in 23 this weird, like, oh, we're playing really well. Votto, was coming back from injury, but he, contributed. But then he got like interviewed. He was the guy that got interviewed all the time. And he's like, I don't want to take away the shine from these young guys who are winning the games, but I want to do my best to help, right? So like he was in this weird spot where like it was his last dance, and obviously that famous David Bell staring lovingly into Votto's eyes happened at the steps of the dugout. Kind of like, I think that was David Bell kind of saying, hey man, this is your farewell tour, right? Like that. Not many guys get to have a farewell tour, right? Like I think Jeter did. I'm trying to think of some other recent one. Miguel Cabrera. Like baseball sometimes retires you before you're ready. So
yeah,
it definitely felt like an official. And like I said, I hope Pittsburgh Pirates do well by Kutch because he's been good to them. Just on
he's
that.
been the best player they've had since Roberto Clemente.
Yeah. Well, Dave Parker played for them.
Yeah, I guess true.
Yeah. And wasn't the 70s team World Series winners? We Are Family?
But we're going back a ways.
Yeah, but that was after Clemente, I think, right? Anyway, not a Pirates show.
That just shows you how much we know about the Pirates.
Yeah, we'll get a Pirates beat writer on and we'll chat him up. Maybe a Pirates on SI writer we'll hook up with. Maybe
I'll reach out to Platinum Key or something.
Oh yeah.
I know some Pirates guys. He's one of the good ones. I do like
okay.
Key.
I thought he was one of the ones in your mentions.
he has been, but when you're defending your team that you love, I understand it.
Yeah, I got you. And
it's when you just blatantly spit out lies and try to act like your players are better than a certain player. Like we're all talking that O'Neal Cruz is so much better than Ellie when Ellie's younger and better.
Yeah. The O'Neal Cruz experiment in center field should be what Nick Kroll and Brad Meador should be looking at because, that isn't the spot. I think we've talked about just yesterday. Corner outfield.
Center field's hard, man. Like you have to. It's hard. I mean, we saw Marte when they moved him out there in the Dodgers series. He got spun around a couple times too. He made a catch, but you get spun around easily out there, and it takes a lot of repetitions. You can't just throw a guy out there and expect them to do good. And we saw O'Neal Cruz give up on balls. I think he forgot he was a center fielder on that one play when it just rolled past him. Like a typical shortstop, the ball gets past and you wait for the center fielder to go pick you up. It's like, look, dude, you're the center fielder. Go get the ball. It's 10 feet behind you.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, well, shout out to O'Neal Cruz. Hopefully he can learn from his mistakes, maybe. But anyway, any other thoughts about Votto and Jim Day and all that good stuff? He'll be on NBC Sunday Night Baseball. I've been saying
it's gonna be interesting.
I think I'll tune in at least just to hear him and see what he's got thoughts on the games and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a full listen. Just the highlights that I've seen have been awesome.
Yeah, and
Joey Votto doesn't love Joey Votto.
Yeah, he's just so Canadian, man. You know what I mean? Like the way he talks, he's just so polite and he's just like thoughtful. I don't know. I don't want to put the bad vibes or bad kind of hex around him. He's going to be in the hot take game, the analysis game, where you don't have an hour 45 to think about your career and what he did. He does have a unique insight because he actually said this on Jim Day's podcast, just real quickly. He actually doesn't think he knows a lot about hitting. He feels like he knows about pitching more and breaking down pitching because of how he had to study pitchers. You know what I mean? He wasn't having to watch other guys hitting tape.
Right. He knows watching himself hit.
Right. He knows what works for him and doesn't work for him. Right. But he's not studying how Miguel Cabrera hit the ball. Right. He was more like into what mechanics of the pitchers are doing, which will be interesting because okay.
Kershaw's on that team too.
Yeah. Like, is Kershaw going to be like talking about hitters and how to get hitters out? Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting what analysis.
It's going to be a fun dynamic. I think they picked the three best possible people for that job in Rizzo, Kershaw, and Votto. I just three potential. I'll say at least two potential Hall of Famers. I'm not sure about Rizzo. I think he was on track.
Yeah, he's his amazing.
Career ended a little early.
Yeah, and he's kind of a bygone era. Just hit home runs and nothing else.
Yeah,
he's kind of got the World Series. But he'll be a Cubs Hall of Famer. How about that?
Yeah, there we go. So
if
3-team Hall of Famers, two potential pro baseball Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I guess Canadian hockey fans are not so nice. since they lost that Olympics and whatnot. So,
Yeah, they
shout out US
booed
hockey
the
team.
national anthem on the
Oh,
hockey
did
tournament last year.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Take that, you bunch of mooses.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for 2010 for Vancouver. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know if you got anything else, any hot takes or anything like that. We previewed minor league Mondays. Tune in for that. Starting Monday, March 23rd, we're going to be breaking down the minor leagues rosters, AAA and AA to start. And then the following week, the single A teams, Daytona and Dayton. And then we'll be going, a live covering on Mondays, all the what's happened that week, all that's happened in the minor league systems, all the way down to DSL when that gets started in mid-June or whatever. So any other hot takes or anything you got, Ricky? Any articles coming up?
I got one coming out on Nick Kroll talking about the team trying to take the next leap in their development coming out tomorrow. So that'll be in your feeds on Reds on SI.
Nice. Oh, I did text you in the middle of the week. I did have a take, and I think I'm going to surprise you on this take because the take is about spring training streaming, right? Everyone from Greg Kuffner to your grandma have been complaining that there isn't any streaming of these spring training games. You got to listen to the radio. And again, I'm a pro radio guy. I love Tommy Thrall, love Cowboy, so I'm not too bothered by that. I'm bothered by everyone wanting everything on demand. You know what? You people that want this streaming so bad, if you want to see the baseball game, fly out to Arizona because that's what I'm doing. Fly out to Arizona, see your Redlegs in person, see them and support the team if that's you want. I understand everybody wants everything on demand with streaming and everything like that, but no, not spring training. There's like this old, kind of, I think it's actually contractually like that where they're only a limited certain amount of games. And it's also maybe kind of like some secrecy stuff, like how preseason stuff, NFL teams don't like to give away their plays. So they run different plays in the preseason than they would the regular season. There may be a little bit of that, but baseball is not like that where they have set plays and everything. I think also it's just kind of like this mystique, right? Your team from the north, we're in the Midwest, I guess, but a team from further north goes down to Arizona, goes down to Florida. They work on their game. We hear all the hype. We hear all the reporters and the buzz, and then they come back up with this renewed. If we had rights to stream every single game and we saw CES striking out in every breaking ball pitch, I feel like my optimism would be a bit quelled a bit. It'd be a little less so because I'd be like, oh, I've seen the bad tape on the Reds. But if I'm just hearing about dingers and I'm just hearing about, back-to-back jacks, hey, we're going to win the World Series, baby. We don't need streaming and spring training. We need just to get out to the ballpark, support your team. If you want, like me, come out to Arizona. It'll be great. I sent Ricky the 10-day forecast, and it's sunny, 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 sunny,
Nice.
sunny, sunny. Yeah. No, it's actually cool. It's like in the 70s. It's actually going to be kind of nice. If it's in the 90s, I'd be like, oh, like sweating. But it's actually going to be a little bit – it'd be 77 and sunny, which I think for them is like winter.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but I don't know. That was my take because I'm like, what? I understand Greg. Greg lives in Atlanta. He may not, or Georgia or wherever. Sorry, I didn't want to dox him. But like,
Atlanta area.
Yeah, so like he lives there, so he doesn't necessarily get to go to a lot of Reds ball games. So he's the guy that always is streaming the game and all that. So I understand that. And some people, I get it. But you know what? Spring training's got to have this air of mystique. Go out to the ballpark, right? Go to Goodyear. Go to Phoenix. Check out the game live because I don't know. It's better that way sometimes. I know we live in a streaming world where we're going to watch all our NFL games on Sunday Ticket or whatever or Red Zone. And then we got all the MLB TV package or whatever. So like, I don't know. Get out to the ballpark is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was hoping to do that too, but had some things come up. But I do have a care package coming out. I know we have some people that do want to meet up. So I got some Skyline and some spaghetti to go with it, and I got some Grippos chips.
Yeah, I'll take you with, Fetters. Come on, get on the plane. I'll put you in my stowaway. Or whatever
He's your carry-on bag.
Carry-on, that's it. I don't know why I said stowaway. I feel like it's a ship thing, right? I'm not taking a boat to spring training. That would take a lot longer. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I'm going off topic. Anything else, Ricky?
No, just we made it, man. It's been a year. We made it a year.
That's crazy.
They do say that if your podcast makes it past 5 episodes, You can be consistent, which 5 doesn't sound like a lot, but apparently, not hitting 5 is fairly common. There's a lot of podcasts out there. We're lucky to have a really cool fan base that it's funny saying the word fans with us,
Yeah.
but we have a fun group of people that hang out with us in the chat. Guys like Fetters and Carrick and everybody else who's
Fred,
ever
Mariposa. We got a couple
everybody
new
else in the
guys.
chat. All the people that have followed us on Twitter. Shout out all 300 of you that joined overnight, basically.
Thank you, Clay Snow.
Clay Snowden for sure is like the absolute goat. My John Quinn is an OG guy.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on his name? Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
Fred is an OG guy.
Yep.
All the OGs for sure. And everybody's joining along the way. We got a lot that we're working on. We're really excited about this Minor League Monday. I know it's gonna be an endeavor because there's a lot more minor league players to cover than there are major league players.
Yeah.
But I know our friend of the show, Ethan, he's gonna be excited to watch this too. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Definitely Fetters. Clay is one of the good ones for sure. And he's been on the show a couple times to try to get him back on before
He'll be coming on soon.
Yeah, before the start of the season, talk about whatever he's got going on. And he's having a kid this year, Ricky, right?
Yeah.
So,
He's going to bring in the magic. He's going to have a kid that similar to the kids born in 1990 that they were born, had a World Series, and never saw it again.
Oh man, that'd be
break the curse. The good one has a kid, and they're going to have a World Series.
The Mars shot curse. Yeah, for sure. We talked about Mars shot a lot yesterday. That was kind of weird, but anyway, we won't go ahead and get into that.
The
anymore.
Shotsy Pod.
Yeah, please comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. We really appreciate you all just tuning in today, tuning in the past. It's been a great ride this last year. Hopefully, it's going to be another good one going in 26 because the Redlegs, man, we're so back. We're so back. Gino Suarez and Ellie hitting back-to-back jacks.
Oh, get you excited.
You can't. I mean, yeah. Let's just get the season going. I guess I'm getting a little impatient a bit, but I don't know. If you got nothing else, Ricky, let's do our sign off. Let's go Reds.
Go Reds.